Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Global Azure session brought to you by Gimme Cloud Talks and sponsored by Captain Hyperscaler. I'm Dwayne Natwick, your host for this event. With me today is Mykola, and he is going to talk about processing documents by Azure services. I'll turn it over to him in a second, but just to let everybody know, give everybody a background around what Global Azure is. Global Azure is a 3-day event on the 18th, 19th, and 20th of April, 2024. It's not always the same weekend. I know it's been in May before as well, but it is a event by the community for the community. It is being run by hundreds of Microsoft MVPs and user groups across the world, and I'm very proud and happy to be a part of it. So without any further delay, I'm going to turn it over to you, Mykola, and have a great session.
Thank you. And I'm happy to be part of this events too. And today I will share you my experience with the processing documents by Azure services. And my name is Mykola Kolomiiets, and I'm a solution architect at Nix. And here we go. What we cover during this presentation, during this session. First of all, introduce Azure AI services itself. Azure Document Intelligence. It is a core engine in this solution, and talk about pipeline architecture with serverless approach, and summarize what we are talking here. So, introduce Azure AI services. And big benefits that we have from the Azure AI services, it is that Azure provides us a lot of the ready-to-use services, and we don't need to learn something. We need to prepare data sets. We can use it by APIs, by usual APIs, or we can we can create services in Azure portal and start use it by the easy way. So it is a first big benefits that we can use it without any machine learning background knowledge. Second point, it is a scalability. So based on that this service is hosting by Azure, we don't need to care about infrastructure. We don't need to care about deployment and scale this service. We have limits that Azure says us, and we know that we can use it by these limits. And we know that Azure will cover SLA and so on for that. Next point, that Azure AI services has a lot of the subsystems, domains in this area. So it is not only ready-to-use solutions. Yes, it is provides machine learning stuff. I mean, you can prepare your own model by your data set, by your data, for your needs, of course. Also, it is a lot of the cognitive services, it is bot services, and so on. Next point, integration. A lot of the businesses that I know use different logic data for business, yes, but sometimes it is around a legacy solution, and they scare about that we'll spend a lot of the time for integration with some AI services. But Azure AI services provide us API that we can easy to integrate in any of the type of solutions that you have. And last point in this list, but it is not last point by importance, it is a security and compliance. It is a very, very important question right now. We need to cover a lot of the compliances, regulations, laws, policies, and it is really hard to do because this list is so big that you just don't know about that, but around some points, because this list of the compliance, for example, we really hard to understand some points from this list. And when you use ready solution, for example, Azure, Azure will cover this and guarantee that this compliance is covered. So you can tell your customers that this solution is covered by this compliance because Azure provides. So it is a very, very helpful and speed up your development process, and you care about business needs instead these security and compliance things in your solution if you use AI service, for example. And you can see list of the services that Azure provides us. It is a big list. You can use different services by different needs. I want to mention here that very important here. It is Azure Search. It is good solution if you need to build search engine from the different source data. It can be blobs, it can be database, and so on and so on. Next one, it is a machine learning stuff. So Azure provides you platform for preparing new models. It is around ML ops pipeline. So you don't need to care about buy some machines, buy some, I don't know, some engineers, time for building pipelines for that, because Azure provides it. And cognitive services, it is good solution when you need to start your POC, for example, or MVP, or you can play with something before big investigation in your solution. And it is for example, Face API. Face API provides you a lot of the sub services. For example, it is a face recognition and face identifier. So what does it mean? It is service for finding, for identify some people on the image. It is really nice if you have, for example, some event, for example, team building, and you have a lot of the pictures, a lot of the images from this event, and you want to see only the images that you on them. And for that, we can build solution. We can use ready solution from Azure for doing it. So you need to just store these images in Azure, and we don't care about security because Azure guarantees that. It is very important here. And you can say that give me images where I am. And you can take a picture on your cell phone, for example, and Azure will return images with you. It is really nice and easy to do because you just use API from Azure, and that's all. Next slide about Azure AI Document Intelligence. It is in this presentation, it is a core engine, core service, because this service will analyze document. He can analyze document and extract really important data from this document. What does it mean? We can send some image, for example, I don't know, it can be invoice, and Azure will return information from this image in JSON and say that this field, for example, price, cost, is some numbers. So we don't need to do anything from the AI perspective. We just use this API for getting this information. And it is really easy to do. Next point, that this service has a lot of the pre-built models. And these pre-built models provides you specific needs for this business. For example, if it is a ID documents, if it is a healthcare documents, and so on, so on. So a lot of the documents already covered by Azure. So you can just use this service for working with your business needs, with your documents. And last one, it is a very important that you can customize and you can create a custom model for your needs. Because as I see before in my previous projects, that each business is unique. Because sometimes we can use ready some from scratch solution for some needs, but usually we need to make some adjustments. We need to change some this point, this field, this button, this checkbox, and the same here. That okay, my invoice is like similar like as that, but, and we have some this but, and this list can be big. And customizing this model, you can create a custom model, your own model for that. You can combine this model if needed, because you can work with a different type of the invoices, for example, and so on, so on. So you can do that in this service. Azure provides us to do that. And here it is a my favorite list. Here again, it is a pre-built models that already exist in Azure AI document, and you can extract, or you can see that what is the data can be covered by these models, what these models can extract from the document. And next one, how we can customize, how we can work with the custom data, custom documents. And first point, custom template. So we can prepare a data set and we can train a model for extracting data based on this structure of the document. It is really easy to do in by Azure. And Azure explain us how to do that. So we don't need to have deep knowledge in machine learning stuff, in data science. We can just do that by mouse, and just click a few buttons. But important here, it is a preparation this data. It is really important, it have to do, but Azure can explain us how to do that. Next, it is a custom model. It is more difficult process because we don't have a strong structure of your documents. And here, this model can be more flexible, be more smart. But here you need to prepare more data for training this model. And next and last here, it is a custom composed. It is a great opportunity that you can combining few models together and work like as a one, like as a one from Azure perspective, I mean. And it is a result from this model will be more accurate and will have a better quality for your business, for your needs, because based on different ways for processing this document, this model will return a better solution. And continue talking about how to easy to integrate Azure services, for example, Azure AI service in your architecture. I have example of architecture for that. I have previous projects similar for that. Also, I have a pet project that is using the same solution. So pipeline architecture, it is very similar to event drive architecture, that we are triggered by some events, but important here point that in this pipeline, output data from one engine or from one component will be input for another one. So you can see my diagram that one engine was working and will put output, return some data, and it will be input for another, and so on, so on, so on. So you can build your pipeline flow, pipeline architecture from the different components that you can do something similar, simple things on your data, on your business needs. For example, you can, I will show you in detail how it works, but it is when you send a message, yeah, we are, for example, we processing it and tell the next component that you need to send notification that this process is finished. Sorry, I have some issue with lights. 1 second. So sorry for that. And continue talk about pipeline architecture. Important point here that we have a serverless approach. What is it? Serverless. It is a solution when your component doesn't have any state between calls of them. And what are the key features and benefits that provide us serverless approach? That again, we can fully implement event drive architecture, that we can trigger it by some events and processing it isolated. We can easy to do scaling, auto scaling. So we can create, I don't know, a lot of the instances for your component for processing your messages. Also, it is a cost efficiency. So we can turn off a lot of the instances if they are not working. And operation efficiency. So we can separate our work, your task on the different subtasks, and working by serverless components. But we have a few challenges during working with the serverless solutions, and important here called starts. What is it? On examples, Azure function, if this Azure function doesn't start a long time and you send some message, for example, in the queue, Azure function will be triggered will have some lag before triggered on your message, because if new messages will not be inserted in the queue, for example, Azure will increase time for checking this queue, and next start will be fired with some delay. So we just need to know about that. Next point, that it is a vendor lock. For example, if you create an Azure function that will be triggered on service bus queue, you cannot, by the simple way, change your cloud provider, for example. And that in the serverless solution, very hard to complexity debug your feature, for example, some business flow, some triggering, because you need to run all of them, you need to prepare data for all of them, and if you work with one chain in this, you need to somehow to run another and another and another. So it is a very complexity for debugging and monitoring as well. And what is a good examples? It is a RESTful API. It is a real-time stream processing. When we have serverless approach is good and show us all possibilities that that they have. And it is an example of architecture for this pipeline and serverless approach. So you can see that it is a simple API for uploading images and few functions for processing events, for processing this image by the different business needs and with the different flows. And how it works, what is the pipeline for this processing? We upload some image, user uploads some image in the API. API will create a blob in blob storage, in Azure account blob storage. After that, recognition engine, in our case, recognition engine has connection with the Azure AI services. You can saw it on the previous slide, and just recognize data, extract data from this image. So they process somehow this data and send a result in queue for next processing. So we can have this in this function different results. We don't find anything on this document. We found some data and push this data in result and send for next processing steps, and so on. And after that, processing invoice engine triggered on this message and process it. This function can process this document by different ways, business needs. So you can put here your business logic that you need to process. For example, I know if you need to divide cost from invoice by some percent that you configure in your setting, you can do that here. So root of your logic can be put here for processing your documents. And based on result of this processing, you can put it in the topic, because you can have a different results, success, unsuccess, some errors, and so on, and put it in the topic, and store result engine will be triggered on this topic and store exactly results that you need by the different ways. For example, if you need to store just a success result, you can put it and forget about that. But if you need to notify somebody about that, you can send additional messages from this engine, from this component, for notifying users about some errors, about something. So you can use this component for working with the final result of your flows. It is really nice. And and one more point about this architecture, why it is a great benefit, and you can have ability to send, for example, send some processing, send some data for processing by your processing invoice engine. I mean, what I mean, in first time you recognized all of the data on this image, in this document, and you don't need to recognize it again. And you can, from the API, for example, you can send recognized data and changed business rules, for example, to the queue. And you don't need to do that, to do recognition stuff. And your pipeline process will be the same. Processing invoice will be triggered on the queue, on the new message, process it, send topic, and so on, so on. So it is a great benefit from this solution, from this pipeline architecture and flow, that you can send different data in the different step of your workflow. It is really nice and really helpful in some business cases, by business needs. Next point, it is a more important for our customers. It is a price and performance, of course. On this diagram, you can see approximately calculation on my pet project. Count here, you can see count of the processed images, processed documents by my system, and price for the services from the Azure. So it is a very important here that in some around, I believe, 10,000 of the documents, you can see a big increase of the price for all of the services. It is related to start using more resources for processing by API, because we need to send this image and process by API and store in the blob. But after that, you can see that it is a linear. It is very predictable. So you can tell your customer that when your business will increase and you will proceed more documents, this price can be around something, yeah? And you can see that, for example, when you proceed almost 20,000 of the images of the documents, you will pay for that less than $2,100 of the dollars. It is pretty good. And finally, what we have from this solution, from these services, Azure AI Service, it is a good way to build POC or MVP application for your customer, for you, for your customer, that you can show them how it will work. Because you don't, at this step, very, very hard to invest a lot of the money into data science team, into learn your own model, prepare a big data set, you can show your customer that, look, this architecture will be like that. We will use simple Azure service, and we can roll out this product. And your clients can start use it and send us data for training. It is very important that you can, I will back to architecture here, it is very good, that when they send some documents by the API, we will store the data. We will store the data and we can reuse this data in the future, because we can add simple mechanism for collecting right data. For example, we send some invoice recognized by the Azure AI document is not correctly. They missed something, place, some data is we lost. It is in place because it is really preview solution right now, and you can store the correct data, I mean metadata, that we need to know about this document in the database and store the document in the blob. And if this solution is good and customer clients says that they need a better quality, they allow this product, this solution, we can spend more money for building a better model and train some own model for these business needs, especially for this client, based on the data that we will store. It's really good and helpful. And again, about performance, from the performance side, you can see that pipeline architecture provide us good solution. It is a good solution for regular product. I mean, what I mean, for example, end of the month, it is a time when all accountant sends invoices, and we need to process in the one time few thousands of the invoices, and we can do that by this architecture because we have scalability, because serverless approach in pipeline architecture guarantee that we can scale out as you need. And it is a really easy to do, and you don't need to write I don't know, some difficult load balancers. You don't need to care about how to increase some machine powers and so on, because Azure can do that. And it is really simple to configure and set up from our developer side. I mean, it is not a big deal. It is not a hard to do by the developer team. And thank you. And that's all from me. Thank you for your time, attention.
All right. Sorry, my pointer wasn't working right to get my mic off of mute. So great session. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Mykola. And thank you for being part of Global Azure. And thanks everybody for tuning in. I know this is a recorded session. If you have any questions, you can feel free to put them in the chat or find Mykola on social media to answer any questions.
Yes,
certainly.
I will glad to answer on any questions.
But yes, enjoy. So yeah, we've got more sessions with Gimme Cloud Talks, and there are sessions going on all throughout April 18th, 19th, and 20th for Global Azure. So feel free to jump between communities and user groups based on the time that you have. And everybody will certainly enjoy lots of topics and lots of information, much like this one. So thank you very much again, Mykola, for providing your knowledge to Global Azure. And otherwise, thanks everybody. Enjoy the sessions. You can go to givemecloudtalks.github.io to find our specific sessions, as well as I think they're also going to be they are also loaded on the globalazure.net website. So feel free to go either place to find the sessions, the global sessions, as well as the Give Me Cloud Talk sessions. And thanks everybody, and have a great rest of your day.